fal Sandbox gives you the ability to test multiple different models from the same text prompt. This allows you to test multiple models at once, compare the outputs, understand how much each model costs, and roughly how long each one takes to process. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the basics of using fal Sandbox. Let's get started. To get to fal Sandbox, head to the website and up to Generate, and it's our first thing under the Generate tab here. So welcome to Sandbox. You'll see obviously a gallery of some images that I've generated in the past, but let's direct our attention down here to the simple input box. So this is your pretty standard prompt box, and I'm just going to make up a prompt right now quickly. And the prompt is a Korean girl in her 20s on her iPhone in San Francisco at sunset. How romantic. There's a couple things going on here that we want to point out before we send this off. First is aspect ratio. I'm going to make it 16:9. Like a film, and we'll notice that we're in text-to-image mode, so we can expect some images coming back. And before we send this off, we want to look at the sets of models that we're going to be testing. And by default, I believe we're using the state-of-the-art models right here. So that's going to be Krea, GPT Image 2, Grok Imagine, and Flux 2 Pro. So just for fun, let's go ahead and send this off. And it does say that this is roughly going to cost about 27 cents. I'm going to send this off and then we'll look at the results. So our very first sandbox generation has finished here, and let's kind of analyze what happened. Again, we saw while this is generating that Grok Imagine was the fastest to process. It took 5.8 seconds and roughly 2 cents, I think. Next was Flux 2 Pro at 8.9 seconds at 3 cents. And then Krea version 2, 28 seconds, so quite a bit longer at 6 cents. And then we have our most expensive and longest generating, and honestly, one of my favorite models is GPT Image 2.0, 118 seconds, so almost 2 minutes and 10 cents. So this is important information as you start building gen media systems at scale, that you might want to consider that, GPT takes a very long time. It's very capable, but it takes 2 minutes per image. It's 10 cents per image. Very expensive, very slow, high quality. And then we have this other range. So this is the real power of Sandbox, is to be able to figure this stuff out before you go and build a large system where you're generating hundreds, thousands, or more images at once or over time. So what I want to do now is another text-to-image generation, same prompt. Let's go ahead and change the aspect ratio for fun. Go to 9:16. And what we want to look at now are the sets here. But I'm going to make my own set that I want to test. So I'm going to get rid of Krea, Imagine, and Flux. And I'm going to do Nano Banana. And we'll get rid of this. And so I'm going to add Nano Banana Pro, Nano Banana 2, Ideogram version 4. And let's close this. And so now I've made my own custom set of models. I believe you can save this set if you want to use this over and over again, or you can create it from scratch over here. Okay, so we've created a custom fast set or temporary set of models that I want to test. And let's go ahead and run this, since it's going to be roughly 64 cents. I'd like to take this time to note that my dog is just sleeping. He looks rather deceased, but he's very alive, I promise you. So our second sandbox generation has finished, and let's look at the results. We have Nano Banana Pro, 20 seconds, about 15 cents. Again, I'm not used to the third digit reading that. We have Ideogram, which is one of my favorite. Honestly, it's my favorite as far as having some depth of field, except the framing's off. But Ideogram, 20 seconds, and let's say 1 cent basically here. GPT-2, which takes about 2 minutes, at least in sandbox mode here, at 10 cents. And then Nano Banana 2, 16 seconds at 8 cents roughly. Again, I can't read the triple digit cents here. And, this prompt is pretty broad, pretty general. So we didn't ask for shallow depth of field. We didn't ask for certain things. But I would say as far as being cinematic, I really like Ideogram. I need to kind of look at that model a little bit more. And then other than that, as far as the person, I really do like what GPT Image 2 has done here with the oversized leather jacket. And the phone looks really good, and it's a pretty cool background. So, this, you take what you want from this, but if nothing else, we can look at the price and the execution time, and then you can sort of see that, like, oh, some of these more affordable models make really great outputs. So this is important to understand. So we're going to test some video models here, and instead of using our simple text box, which I like at the bottom center, it's a fun UI, what we're going to actually do is go up to the top left here and switch to our advanced input mode. So this is going to give you this side menu version of it, and you can change the size of it, giving the input a lot more, space in the UI. And up here we can switch to video, to audio, or to 3D. 3D would be fun too, but let's stick with video. So right now, by default, the set we're getting is Happy Horse, Sea Dance, VO, Cling, and Minimax. That's a great set. And, overall, this test is going to cost a lot more money. This test is going to cost about $7. So it's a lot more money. And when there's that much money on the line per test, I want to use the advanced input mode just because we have a little bit more control. We don't want to do it wrong, for instance. So I'm going to make a prompt and we'll set this off. Okay, so I made basically the same prompt here. And for fun, let's try the enhance prompt button and see if I could add a little bit more detail. Yeah, sure, we'll go with it here. And because these are false credits, let's go ahead and do a 10-second generation, which will make this cost a little bit more. And let's go ahead and do 16:9. We're going to do audio. Now, all of these different video models have kind of wildly different types of inputs that they take, but this is sort of a kind of common set of parameters that most models will have. But let's go ahead and double check this again. Looks good to me. And we're going to send off our first Sandbox video generation. While these are generating, we have different views of this. And if we go back to what happens if we show metadata here? Right. So if we turn off show metadata, it's going to put all of the generations you've ever done into one gallery, which is somewhat useful if maybe you did the same prompt and you did like 20 or something like that. You might want to view it like this. But I generally like the metadata view where I can see each prompt as a group of images to compare, right? Just because it's like, oh, these were the vertical ones, these are the horizontal ones, and these are our video ones. So generally, I really like this view here with the metadata on. And if things are getting serious, mostly for video or 3D where things cost more or it's more, need a little bit more precision, I do prefer this advanced input mode. But for now, I'm going to switch back to our sort of much smaller, simpler mode. And this just gives me a bigger view of our final videos here. So I'll let these finish and then we'll check them out. Okay, so time to get off X, and my dog has left the building. And very exciting, our Sandbox generation has finished for our videos. So we'll see here that we did change the duration to 10 seconds each, and that did bump up the cost to $10. Good to know. So first is Alibaba here. If we hover over the video, it will start playing. And 189 seconds for $2.80. Pretty good quality, framing with the eyes in the middle. Not my favorite, but overall, really good. The phone looks really good too, actually. This one's really nice, actually. Next, we move on to Sea Dance 2.0. Similar amount of time, 174 seconds and $3. So similar pricing, actually, for these. Not shown here as resolution. I don't know if these are all 720 or 1080 or that's 4K. I kind of doubt it would be more expensive, but still we can generally look at the costs and how the quality is coming back. So VO, interesting face, extremely shiny, odd lighting. I kind of get that it's trying to light it from the face, but not my favorite. VO 3.1 did finish much faster, but cost the most out of all of these so far. Again, we don't know what the resolution is, but still just ballpark. Good to know. Looking at Cling 2.5 Turbo, which is Turbo, their faster model. I'm not sure I think there's a Pro. Oh, no, it's Pro. Okay, 2.5 Pro. And pretty good. I like it overall. It's not as orange and sunny. That could have been asked for a little bit more in the prompt, but the character performance looks pretty good. The phone, is that the older version? With the back, we didn't ask for a specific version, but overall, Cling, still one of my favorites out there. and it took 183 seconds and was only 70 cents. Wow, so much, much cheaper. Good to know. I didn't even realize Kling was that much cheaper. And finally, from Minimax, I've never used this model before. It was just on the list. Not quite, but it is much cheaper. It's the cheapest out of all of them, and it finished relatively fast, but I wouldn't exactly put this one in the running. I do like kind of the pastel lighting overall, but my big takeaway from, again, doing this comparison, which I rarely do, and I never have all the information in one place, I would say that Kling is a pretty good like workhorse as far as speed and cost and quality. That's my takeaway. And then honestly, I think C-Dance 2.0 is just like, one of the best out there, one of the most state-of-the-art. But Happy Horse, I think, is doing a good job as well. I think these two are kind of similar for a simple thing like this right now. So you can do these tests. You want to basically prompt for like the subject matter or use the same reference and just do a couple little tests before you go and produce like the whole movie or commercial or project. Do a couple tests here with some of the models that you may have heard of and you want to test out really quickly, and you get to have a really quick overview, high level of how each model can handle the subject, how fast they are, how much they cost, etc. So that wraps up our look at fal Sandbox. I learned some stuff today. Hopefully you learned some stuff as well. And let me know if there's any questions about this. And if not, I'll see you on the next video.